All right. Welcome, welcome. Let me get my microphone. Welcome to another live with Hanifa Nayela. I am Hanifa Nayela. And today we are here again this good old Friday evening with another fabulous, fabulous conversation for you guys. Just so you know, if you're here, like I said in the chat, let me know you're here so that I can shout you out. We have some early birds. Let me give them the early bird treatment and show them some love. We have Necilia, happy light being. Hey now, hey now, hey now. Peace to you, sis. Thanks for passing through and showing us some love. We have Enya. Good sis. Enya in the building. Hey, Enya. She says happy Friday. That is happy Friday to you as well, Enya. Thank you for always showing support and love. I so appreciate you. You have no clue. Much appreciated. It's funny how you can grow to love people that you haven't met yet. Enya is one of those people. She just has like a really beautiful spirit, so I really appreciate her. Necilia is saying, "Hey sis, I'm in the house. Thank you for being in the house with us today. If you are here for the first time and you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you are here right now and you have not hit the like button, make sure you go back out and hit the like button. If you are here and you are feeling the vibe at any point, please feel free to share with your peeps because this is going to be a beautiful, beautiful show. Hey, Erica. Thanks for passing through and showing love, sis. I appreciate you so much. Let me see. We have Harris Tribe Media Group. Peace, family. Happy Friday. Hey, Hanifa. And salute to the chat. Peace to you, Harris Tribe Media. You guys, make sure you check them out on YouTube as well. It's a husband and wife, a duo going on over there. They're pretty dope. So make sure you guys check them out. Who do we have here? Enya, love you too, sis. Brother Diallo in the building. Hey, Brother Diallo, thanks for passing through and showing love. We are patiently waiting for you to return. Okay, get your social media, whatever your computer, whatever that was delaying you and didn't let you come and be with us. I hope you got that fixed because we missed you. And so make sure that you hurry back and give us the good word of the Lord. Thanks for passing through, bro. I appreciate it so much. All right, guys. So as usual, if you guys want to follow me on social media, all of my information is at the bottom. You can follow me on Instagram at The Real Hanifa Nayela. And if you are feeling, I don't know, generous today, make sure you hit the Cash App, $ Hanifa Nayela. It's no pressure, but I will not refuse your coins. I'm just letting you know, okay? So make sure that you hit the Cash App up if you feel it. Maybe you got paid today. Maybe you got paid today, okay? You feeling real generous. Help your sister out, okay? All right, guys. So today, this month, is going to be solely focused on healing. And so I wanted to discuss healing from different angles, different approaches, different practices. So we have my first guest who does written and spoken word as a tool of healing, not just herself, but also teaching others how to utilize that particular tool towards their own healing journey. And so without further ado, let me make sure I covered everyone in the chat before I bring my guests up. Oh, I see my father-in-law is in the building. He is also a spoken word poet. Rhonda, you might have to link him. He is dope. I'm just letting y'all know that right now. Dope musician, dope artist all around. I mean, what don't he do? Hey, father-in-law, thanks for coming through and showing some love. I appreciate you. We have my sister here, Taliba. I didn't even want to say what we call her. I'm going to go ahead and call her Taliba. Hey, sis, thanks for coming through and showing support. My sisters always come through and show me some love, y'all. They say family don't support you. That's a lie from the pits of hell that don't exist. My sisters support me. Okay. Nasilia said, as a writer and poet, this is right up my alley. Ashe, Ashe. Okay. And then we have Huey Venture saying peace, fam. Peace to you too, Huey. Thanks for being here with us. All right, guys. Let me bring you guys. Let me bring my guest up because this tonight is all about her. Okay, it's all about her and what she wants to bring to us tonight. And so, without any more delay, I bring to you the one and only Rhonda Sekhmet Ra. Hey, Rhonda.
Hey, thank you so much.
I'm so sorry. You know, I don't get enough cash apps. I don't have a soundboard yet. Or I would have given you the applause all around, you know. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. I have known you for over some years now, I would say, and I come in and out of your group, Black Liberation Movement, right? Black Awakening. I always say Black Liberation, Black Awakening Movement. Yeah. Yes. I always come in and out that group. Really, really good group, by the way. I love the dynamic over there. I was talking about you guys not too long ago. But how are you feeling today, sis?
I'm feeling good.
Yes. So you know, this month I'm focusing on healing, solely healing for the whole month of December, since we're coming to the end of the calendar year. And I know January may not be the new year for some people, but for others it is. And it's usually a time, you know, it's the winter season. It's usually a time of introspection, reflection, detox, whatever else, you know. But it's a time to go inward, right? And so I wanted to focus on healing before we went into the new calendar year. And just kind of like shed some weight, I guess, shed some things. So I wanted to start off with you. Because I know that you are a spoken word artist. Am I saying it right? Can I say artist? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
You are a spoken word artist, but you don't, it's not just spoken word. The way that you talk about your art is as a tool of healing, in that it has assisted you in that healing journey. I'm sure you have utilized other tools, but this is one of them that you talk a lot about. So tell me, Rhonda, when did you start doing poetry, like either writing, because I'm assuming spoken word came later. Yeah. When did you start writing poetry?
So I actually started writing when I was a child, about in middle school. I don't know if you're hearing the echo. Are you hearing the echo?
No. It's let me. I think I may not have muted the music. No, there's no echo, sis.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's good now. Yeah. So I started when I was in elementary school. So of course, like many people, I was introduced to it in school. So I was about in 4th or 5th grade before I started like really getting interested in poetry.
Okay.
But it became like my first healing tool ever.
Okay.
You know, like in my upbringing and a lot of our upbringings, we don't talk about therapy or other types of healing. I really didn't have any other tools outside of poetry. So once I was introduced to it, it not only became like a hobby, it also became something that I used to help me get through, you know, emotional difficulties and different things that were going on, because at that time period, I didn't really have other ways to express myself in a healthy way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now usually when I hear people say they've started writing poetry when they were young, and I did too as well. And so I'm gonna also ask you, because I haven't written in a long time. But I feel like once you start writing poetry, it never leaves you. It's like learning how to swim or learning how to ride a bike. And for me, it's like if I'm inspired, I will write. But when you started writing, did you feel like it all has to rhyme? Like when you started as a child? Because I know I did.
Yeah, that was fun for me. You know, when I was younger, I remember doing like poetry assignments and we had to write in a very specific way. But I quickly learned that you don't really have to do that stuff.
Right.
And that's what I teach people in the workshop a lot, is like these rules that they have for poetry, a lot of it is made up, and people were writing poetry before these rules were even made. So I learned quickly that I didn't have to do that, and I kind of did what I wanted to do. But at the time I was in school and stuff, I would do that. I would try to, make it rhyme, try to make it be in a certain way,
Mhm.
to fit the assignment. But later, it might rhyme, it might not.
Right, right. So you said that you started writing kind of to like process through things when you were younger.
Mhm.
What would be, I mean, isn't that like journaling, would you say? Because what would be the difference between journaling, because I know when people are dealing with, like, if they're in therapy, on their own healing journey, one of the things that's encouraged a lot is journaling.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, okay, what's the difference between journaling and writing poetry? I'm thinking it's the same. Do you differentiate between the two?
Yeah, well, I think for some people they overlap because I've seen people like write journals that sound like poetry. Um, but I know for me personally, there's a difference. And I think one thing about poetry is it includes rhythm and it includes a certain vibration. Even if you're writing, it
Mm-hmm.
kind of puts things in a different vibration. And to me, it allows me to go deeper than I
Okay.
would with journaling. Because one thing I discovered in journaling is
Mhm.
like that's supposed to be where we write our innermost thoughts, but a lot
Right.
of times we just scratch the surface. We really don't go deep unless we do it like intentionally. And I think there's something about poetry, I think, that allows people to go to a deeper level of their emotions and
Mm-hmm.
also like on a spiritual level and tap into more. So for me, that's the difference is I think one, like the vibration of the poem, the rhythm of the poem, and also just tapping into things on a deeper level.
Okay. Okay. So as it pertains to take me on your journey, okay, so is there a time where I it sounds like your poetry has always been a part of your healing journey,
Mhm.
right? Is there a time where there was a shift to the type of poetry that you were writing? Like, were you able to see that, hey, I've evolved in, because I feel like poetry kind of keeps track our progress in a sense, because when you
Yes.
go back and you read certain poems, you'll be like, oh, I know exactly where I was at this time.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, when
Yeah.
did you see that your poetry started to shift, and in what direction?
Yeah, I'm sure there's been a lot of shifts, but the one that I noticed the most is after I started becoming more racially conscious.
Okay.
There was like a dramatic shift in what I
Mhm.
wrote, and also that's the time period where I started doing spoken word, which was around 2014. But what I noticed about a lot of my poems, especially from like adolescence and kind of going into college, it was really, a lot of sad poems, just very emotional. And I think kind of coming into learning more about myself as an African woman and more about our people, that I started pulling more on my power. So I noticed that even though I talk about a lot of things that sometimes are hard to hear, that is more empowered than it was before. It was more, some of my poetry before was a little bit woe is me and everything is sad kind of thing.
Mhm.
I just feel, I feel myself more so lately pulling on that power. And even over the past, even from the time that I started doing spoken word till now, I've seen a difference in what I write. There's always an evolution, there's always a change, there's always a
Mhm.
shift. um but yeah, I definitely have seen those differences.
So, okay, help me make the connection for some people that may not understand. Because I know for me, when someone says to journal, I would journal for like 1.5 days and then I fall off. I'll be
Mm.
like, eh. And I know people who journal like every day. Like, that's a ritual. It's a part of their routine. That's what they do. I've never really been able to create a routine from journaling. Like, I just have, like, I'm good at jotting notes down if I'm reading something, if I feel like I am inspired. Some people would say you get a download of some sort.
Mhm.
And so I'm good at jotting those things down, but like, consistently journaling has always been a struggle. So some people may not understand the connection between healing and the poetry piece, right? Can you connect the dots? Like, how has poetry assisted you in your healing? Like, give us some things that were practical, that were obvious because of in your healing, because of the connection to the poetry.
Yeah. Yeah, I will. And I do want to say that healing, I mean, poetry by itself isn't necessarily something that can heal you in totality. I don't want people to get confused like, oh, if I just write a whole bunch of poems, I'm gonna be healed. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that it can assist in your healing a lot. And it has assisted me in my healing a lot and has helped me to process certain things. So one example for me, I did a workshop on using poetry, using writing to process grief. And so that's one thing that I did in order to heal from the grief that I was going through, is by writing about it. And
Okay.
kind of like some people do with journaling, is just writing until you get the emotion fully out. And sometimes that's writing over and over and over again. Because sometimes, like you said, sometimes we write and then we stop, but we haven't really been able to fully get out everything that we're feeling or that we're going through. And a lot of times when things are emotionally overwhelming, sometimes it's hard to articulate it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I love about poetry and other forms of writing, is it allows us to be able to put things in words, things that we may not be able to say, or things we may not feel comfortable saying. Because for me, early in my journey, one reason that I wrote poetry so much is because I wasn't one of those people that was comfortable sharing my feelings with other people. So I shared it with my poems. I shared it in my poems, and that was comfortable for me. I spent most of my life not sharing my poetry with anyone. And so now that's all I do is share. But yeah, it's something that helps us to be able to release those emotions, and not only to release them, but to look at them differently. Because once you
Mm-hmm.
put it on paper, one, you've externalized it, instead of it just going round and round in our head, or going round and round inside of our body and our being. It's
Mm-hmm.
externalized, and then once it's externalized, we can look at what we're going through, the emotion, whatever it may be. We can look at it in a different way. So it also allows us to reframe. And a lot of healing modalities, not all of them, but something like talk therapy, for instance, that's some of the work that you're doing in there, is you're processing the emotion. You're being able to talk about it in a different way and give it a new story, so to speak, so that it doesn't live in your being the same way that it did before, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to take a pause for the cause, and I'm going to go ahead and shout out some people that came in. Ma'at Speaks says, Peace says, hey, Ma'at.
Hey.
Thanks for coming through and showing some love. She says, Peace to you, Rhonda. Let's see who else we saw coming. DC Butler. Hey, Darren. Thanks for coming through and showing some love. Appreciate you always, always, brother, for coming through and showing your love and your support. I appreciate it very, very much. Who else do we have here? Okay, so Necelia says subscribe to both, give thanks. All right, so Rhonda, so this month here is going to be, I'm trying to bring some other people on, but I know I have someone coming on to talk about talk therapy, because I'm very big on the fact that I know, like, within the last, I don't know how many years, I'm going to go ahead and say 5 years, talk therapy have kind of been like a trendy topic, right? A hot topic. Like, therapy is the new sexy, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the low sayings you'll see going around social media. And so for me, I'm all for talk therapy, right? But I'm also of the belief that it's not enough, specifically for our people,
Yeah.
right? And so for me, I'm always looking for different practices of healing that people engage in, whether it's ancient rituals, whatever that is. Like, for example, I see dance as a form of therapy, because I truly believe that, sometimes trauma gets trapped in the body.
Yes.
And I think that dancing is a good way of releasing that trauma. So for me, it's like, if somebody just feels like they're stuck, it sounds like you just need to move. And for me, I'm like, go sign up for a dance class somewhere. So that's also another form of therapy in a sense, right? But when we talk about therapy, most people think of talk therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you do workshops, and I want eventually I want you to get into like what's the purpose of the workshops, and we're gonna share. I want you to share like some information around your workshop. Now, I would like for you to talk to me about one of your poems, maybe a time that you were I don't know, you wrote it and you had a hard time sharing it, and then you eventually share, because I've been there. I have poems that I would never show anyone, right? Because I think those are the poems where I'm at a point in my journey that I haven't completely processed everything. And so for me to share it, I just ain't ready to be vulnerable in that capacity because I haven't fully processed it. So tell me about the time where maybe you wrote something and it helped you, to release it, but you weren't comfortable sharing it. And then eventually you got to, and tell me the name of the poem as well.
Yeah, so the first one I thought of is I got PTSD from living in racist America. And honestly, at the time that I wrote it, I mean, it sounds relatable, right? To what we're going through. But at the time I wrote it, it was very personal to what I was going through in terms of my own trauma. I was experiencing PTSD from being what some people call a leader or activist, in our community. And
Okay.
so I was writing it based on that, but I was very nervous about sharing that particular poem because one, these were like my real experiences. So I didn't know if I wanted to share all that. And then, sometimes when you share stuff, it's like I always get this feeling sometimes I don't know if people are going to think I'm exaggerating because I know this is my experience, but once I share it with someone else, it's like they're like, "Are you sure that was going on?" You know what I'm saying? So I was a little nervous about it, but it was a relief once I did share it. And I also realized people could relate to it because one, it realized like other people are going through this same thing. And also we as a people, we're all experiencing PTSD from living in America. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
we've been through
Mm-hmm.
more trauma than anybody else living here. And I say that, without hesitation. But um that particular piece was hard for me to share initially because again it was personal, but I felt a lot of relief. And I think that's another healing aspect of poetry once you get to the point where you're sharing um and other people are hearing it, because even in the groups that I used to do, healing groups specifically for Black women, um,
Okay.
when I was running my healing practice. And when we did these groups, one thing I noticed is that one of the things that would be so healing is realizing that other women were going through the same thing. The women in the group could relate to other people's experience because the thing that depression and anxiety and a lot of other mental health issues, the thing that it does to us, it makes us feel like we're all alone. It makes
Yes.
us feel like we're the only one experiencing this or something is wrong with us. But when we realize other people are experiencing it, it's somewhat of a relief, and it's also a shared burden rather than you as an individual taking on all of that burden by yourself. And so that's something else that can happen in poetry. Once you get in a safe space to share your poetry, you can realize that other people are able to relate to it. And that's a relief too. And it also keeps you from feeling, crazy. Because, sometimes, we go through experiences and we start feeling like, damn, am I crazy? What's going on with me? And so that's a relief. That can be a relief too for that.
So, are you able to share a snippet of that since that's the one that stood out for you?
Yeah, I haven't done that one in a long time.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Okay,
I'm
wait,
gonna
wait.
recite what I remember, and if I forget, I'm gonna just stop.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so
Okay,
let me make sure I shout out some people. Hey,
go ahead.
Dawn Sharp. She says, "Hey, all, love poetry. Hey, Dawn, thanks for passing through." Ola says, "Journaling equals their diary. Poetry equals word alchemy." All right,
Ooh, I
and we
like
have
that.
Ene. Yeah, Ene is in the house. Hey, Ene, thanks for always passing through and showing love. Let me see who else just came in. We got New Growth, Old Soul, passing through and showing some love. Guys, if you have questions for Rhonda, make sure you guys put it in the chat. I'm also going to open up at some point at the hour mark. If anyone wants to come up and have this conversation, maybe you have a spoken word you want to share, feel free. But I know this will be interesting. So if you have a
Open
spoken
mic.
word that, yes, come on up, because this is all about healing through the spoken and written word. So if you have a spoken word that maybe has helped you through a tough time and you want to share that with us, please, by all means, feel free once I open up the lines, which will be at the hour mark. But Rhonda, back to you. If you could share a snippet, tell us the name of the poem again, and then maybe a snippet.
Yes. And I found it on my computer too. So
Okay.
so y'all don't have to hear the rough version. So the poem is called I Got PTSD from Living in Racist America. Mm-hmm. I got PTSD from living in racist America, a place where my ancestors lived in slavery. It may not look like a war zone to you, but it looked like one to me, you see. These police cars look like military tanks. All I see is enemy forces that wouldn't mind killing me, especially when they know I can't be used as a weapon for white supremacy. And I don't think all these helicopters flying over me is to ensure my safety. And I don't think these military planes crossing over is to bring my liberty. And I don't think you got on all that riot gear because you think my life matters, you see. I saw you shoot down my brother on TV. We losing soldiers left and right that don't even know which side they fighting for. Some of our soldiers put on your uniform, they so confused. See, this war is psychological as much as it is physical. That's why my PTSD is really complex. Do you have a therapist that can fix my trauma and the conditions that created it? Forget it, I'll be it, because anyway I see it, I can't let this enemy defeat me. We got enemies external and on the inside, so even when we alone at night, we battle. Sometimes I fight in my sleep, but never will I claim defeat. Almost got killed on the battlefield so many times I started feeling like a ghost. I was going through the most nobody knew, because when others can't see the war you're going through, your PTSD symptoms start to look a little bit crazy. So I stopped there.
Woo! Woo! When was this written, Rhonda? And what was going on with you at the time? When was it written, and so what was happening?
So I'm thinking, let me try to do the math. I'm thinking this is probably 2018 or 2019. I was in Wilmington, North Carolina, where I live now. And I was, as you know, I lead the Black Awakening Movement. That's an organization dedicated to awakening our people to the truth about racism. But I was also doing community work here in order to deal with the day-to-day racism that my people were going through, police brutality, all that stuff. And so at the same time that was going on, there were a lot of other things going on as it pertains to me. And I can't really go in like too much detail, but basically what was going on is just what happens whenever we try to speak out or say something. You face opposition. And also you face stress. And also knowing one thing that I noticed that I went through is seeing what had been done to other Black people and also other Black leaders. I guess you can call that vicarious trauma, but it's almost like vicarious ancestral trauma, because I look back at people, what happened to people before I was even born, and kind of just learning more and more about what we went through, and also going through my own personal struggles. It was causing some serious PTSD. And that's where that poem came out. So I started just writing about what was going on. And I literally, that particular piece, when I started it, I was literally just writing it for myself, for what I was experiencing. But I eventually got to a place where I sat down, I looked at it, and I'm like, other people could probably relate to this. So I'm gonna go ahead and share it. I'm gonna go ahead and share it.
So. Yeah. Let me make sure I shout out a few people that just came in. Liberated Soul Rebel says peace to you and yours, Sister Hanifa, the other sister on the panel, as well as the chat. Hope everyone is doing good. We are well, Liberated Soul Rebel, and we are glad that you are here with us. I think they were feeling your spoken word. This is all of the snaps and the applause. Lauren Proper, much love and sharing PTSD and articulating what we feel. Thanks for coming through and showing some love. We see Sir Hill, Mr. Sir Hill. Thanks for passing through and showing some love. I appreciate you very much, sir. I think they were feeling your spoken word, sis. So I appreciate you for sharing that snippet with us. You mentioned I was at one of the jobs that I was at. Oh, hey Ayapo, says Anifa Nayela. Peace, beloved sister. Peace to you, Ayapo. Carl Ridley. Oh, my God, my father-in-law. He says, woke. All right. So Simon Hectic just came in. He says, yo, give me your number. Okay. Hey, Simon. Thanks for coming through. And so, like I said, if you're just coming in and we're discussing healing this whole entire month, and today we're more focused on utilizing the written and the spoken word as tools of healing. Okay. Okay. Hola, Mina. Hola. And so, yes, so today we are focusing on spoken word and written word as tools towards our own healing. And Miss Rhonda Sekmet Ra, who is here with us, is a spoken word artist, and she's also an author because you have a book out as well, a poetry book, which we're going to get to shortly. And so for you guys who are just coming in, I want you guys to know that I will be opening up the line at some point. And so if you have maybe a spoken word that maybe helped you through a tough time, again, we're focusing on the written and spoken word as tools of healing. So if you have one and you're bold enough to come on camera and share it with us, by all means, please do so. This is a safe space. It's all love over here, so you don't have to be afraid. Okay, so Rhonda, so you said that was around a time there's a lot that was going on in the country at that time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other thing that when you said that, there was a poem that I wrote. I wrote it. What was the name of it? Ugh, child, this was a long time ago. It's not coming to me, but I was looking through the window at my job at that time, and it was in the district in DC, and there was a huge fight that broke out downstairs between the school children. And by the end of the fight, one of the young ladies' head was dripping blood.
Oh.
And all the children just walked off before the police came, like nothing, like nothing happened, and including the one with the bleeding head, right? She wasn't trying to report it or anything like that. And so they we're just watching that, and then the reaction of some of the brothers who were at the job, like some of them were refusing to go down there and get involved to break up the fight. It was just like a lot of conversation, right? And I feel like when people talk about our people who are in a certain socioeconomic class, the way in which they're talked about, like those are those people. It's almost like we need to put those people on an island by themselves. And that's what triggered the poem. And I wrote that poem right there at my desk at the office from start to finish, because I couldn't say what I wanted to say to them. And so I put it in the form of a poem. You know what I'm saying? And believe it or not, that same agency that I was working for, they had a competition, and I recited that poem and I won the entire competition. The entire competition. But that poem was written at my office desk because of what I observed in people's reaction to what was taking place right in front of them, and I didn't like it. So when you say like certain things could just provoke that, and you just start writing, and you realize that your pen won't stop, and you're just going and you're going and you're going, where do you often get your inspiration from for your spoke? Does it come from, do you have to be going through something to be inspired, or you could just be inspired by something beautiful?
Yeah, I would say probably post 2014. the majority of my poetry has been centered around what we're going through as a people.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
I mean, there's some love poems here and there, black love poems, but that's what I think about probably on a daily basis. So sometimes it is anger, sometimes it's rage
Okay.
that leads me to writing. But
Okay.
sometimes it's just observation. I'm just noticing something. I'm like, let me write about it. Or sometimes somebody will say, hey Rhonda, you should write a poem about this, or can you write a poem about this? And then it'll come out of that. So it really depends. I will say those poems that come out of like a certain emotion, like when I'm actually experiencing the emotion, that's always like a really powerful experience because you
Mhm.
get to transform the emotion in the moment. And I think sometimes, we are in situations like you mentioned where we can't necessarily say or do what we want
Yeah.
in that particular situation. So writing it down gives us a place to put it. And then also it's alive. It's not saying like I'm never going to deal with this, but like we're speaking about it and it can
Mhm.
be dealt with from there.
Yeah, yeah. I want to make sure that I acknowledge. Hey, Yellow. Yellow just came in the building. He says, shout out to Hanifa, shout out to the guests, shout out to the chat, shout out to you, Yellow, for passing through and showing some love. It is much, much appreciated. You mentioned rage, Rhonda. Talk to me about you're feeling rage, right? About something. And you go ahead and you write. What is that, a release? Is the rage dealt with once you finish writing, or is this like a continued process? Does this go on for days, or it's dealt with within the moment? What does that process look like?
Usually the last time I remember doing that, I was really upset about this white guy had hit this black brother on the street who had just like, I think he was changing his tire or something, and he just ran over him and kept going like he was a deer on the road. And I remember I was really angry, and I would say I was getting to the point of rage. This had happened in my community. So when things happen like, outside the community, we're kind of used to it, we're desensitized
Right.
in some ways, but when it happens in my community, a lot of times I have like a different reaction. So I was feeling rage, and I didn't have his name or anything like that. So I was like, I'm gonna write, because if I don't write, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I wrote a poem. That specific poem was called Black Rage, which I'm gonna be
Mm.
putting in a new poetry book that I'm working on. But
Okay.
I noticed afterwards I felt different. Now I'm not gonna say I felt peaceful and happy and I wanted to, skip in a field of flowers, but I did not feel that same level of emotion that I felt when I started, because I mean I was very, very, very angry. And so after writing that piece, I felt a release. Um, and it also allowed me to write down something like to remember that feeling, because that's another thing that poems allow us to do, is to remember how we felt during specific times. Because sometimes our memory won't always allow that.
Mm-hmm.
But when we look back at a poem, we kind of know like what we were going through emotionally at that specific time when we read it. So it allows that to be captured as well.
Yeah, when I had Natasha on, who I'm going to be bringing back probably this month, since we're talking about healing. And her focus is around mental health, and she was saying that she knew when she looked at some of her writings when she was a child, she realized that she was struggling with depression really early,
Mm.
just from her writings.
Yeah.
So it's things like that. Like you said, the mind or the brain, for whatever reason, I think it's out of protection, won't allow, kind of suppress a lot of stuff. I'm dealing with that of recent as well. So I'm like, I'm fresh in this right here. The suppression of stuff that, for whatever reason, once you start doing certain work on yourself, those things come to the forefront, right? Because they have to be faced. And so when she was talking to my audience, to me and my audience that day, she was saying like she looked at some old journals when she was in elementary school,
Mm.
and she saw, that, hey, I was dealing with some depression at that time, even though she didn't have the vocabulary, or to say this is what this is, or the people around her not being probably equipped. And this is in the Caribbean, because she's from the islands, and I'm just like, depression. Like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? At that time. And
Yeah.
so she said, but now, knowing what she know and being like a mental health, in the mental health space, mental health professional space, she's looked at her old journal, like, which is what you're saying, and it's like, wow, I was really going through it. And then the memory comes back. And it's like, I know what was happening at that time. This is what was going on. So when you do your workshop, what encouraged you, first of all, to do your workshops? What led to you eventually saying, I'm going to start doing workshops around this?
That's a good question. A lot of times I get ideas and it feels kind of like they come out of nowhere, but I know like there's a reason. But at the time that I started this workshop, I was actually transitioning out of mental health and healing work into spoken word and poetry.
Okay.
Because I had done mental health and social work for most of my adult career. And I was transitioning into just focusing more so on the poetry and the spoken word, which I also feel like is healing, but also recognize like a lot of people don't necessarily see it that way.
Yeah.
And so the workshop actually was a bridge in between that shift that I was making.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was doing that particular workshop, and we actually called it Using Poetry for Healing. Yeah. So that was in 2020. And also in 2020, a lot of people's mental health challenges were amplified because of
Yes.
the isolation that we were forced into.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to necessarily just go straight into poetry. I wanted to incorporate healing into that as well. So when I started the workshop, basically what I wanted people to get out of it and to feel from it is to know that you can use poetry as a tool for healing, not as a sole form of healing,
Yes.
but to have some alternative tools.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I noticed, especially for our people, I think therapy is great. I advocate therapy. I've gone through therapy many, many times. I encourage us to get Black therapists and Black therapists who understand systemic racism. But
Yes.
I also think that culturally, there are some things that appeal to us more as a people and that resonate with us on a soul level.
Okay.
And art is one of those things. And that could be music, that could be poetry, like you were saying earlier, dance,
Mm-hmm.
things. Those things are so important to us culturally. So what I wanted people to do really is to tap in to a form of healing on a soul level. And that's why I eventually changed the name to Let Your Soul Write, because I think that's an important part of healing as well, because there's so much disconnection from the mind, body, and soul. How even in this culture, it's like separated. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of us are out of tune with ourselves on a spiritual level, on a soul level. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted people to tap back into that and be able to express themselves fully, and in the process of that expression, that release, that reflection, that processing, that they're able to feel a type of healing that they may not have been able to get in another space. And another thing that I've done a lot of times in my work, in my own healing and also working with other people, sometimes that would be part of the sessions, is bringing the poetry into the session.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily something that has to be separated as at all, in any way, but just kind of bridging that gap between healing in the traditional sense, and also seeing healing like in a different way, and also in a way that's more culturally appealing to us.
Yeah, I like how you talk about kind of just like synthesizing in a sense, like bringing together some things. Because I think sometimes, well, it's not sometimes, most of the times, we think in a very binary way.
Mm-hmm.
It's either, if it's this, then it can't be that. And if it's that, then it can't be this, and I'm really like big on this these days. Like sometimes, and I've been learning this, I'm working on this even with myself, because there are things that you can hold on to so strongly that you're willing to dismiss anything else for it, and without even perhaps looking at what's being presented, because the reality is that none of us has the full truth, right? So it's the six blind men and the elephant proverb thing, right? Where you had one describing the elephant by his trunk. This is what an elephant is. But they really the only part of the elephant that they're exposed to is the trunk. Then you have one that's exposed to the tail. And he says, well, no. This is what an elephant is. Then you have the one that's exposed to the feet. No. This is what the elephant is. And the reality is, the question is, who's wrong? None of them. They're all right? Because they are given a truth from their angle.
Yeah.
Right? From the angle that they can see. Whether it's a half truth or not. But what happens is I'm like, no, it's the trunk. And because that's my angle and it's not yours, Rhonda, I dismiss yours. But the reality is that you describing the feet of the elephant isn't not true. It's true as well, right? And so when you talk about it combining things, it's something I'm working on personally, where everything doesn't have to be discarded of, right? There's so many things that a lot of us went to school for. Some of us have worked in certain environments for a long time. And then we're like, I want to do this for my people. And somehow we think we have to discard of that. But what I'm learning is, if you watch your own journey, you've already acquired the things that are necessary to do that work that you are holding, that vision you're holding. You already equipped from the work environments, the education, all of those things. You don't necessarily have to say, oh, now because I want to do this for my people, I got to get rid of this, right? Because this came from, I don't know, their institutions per se. So when you just said that, I'm like, that's genius. And I think more of us can work on that, to find ways that the things in your life could cooperate, right? And make something that is, much more productive than if you were just working on one thing, or just utilizing one angle or one perspective, right? Or one approach. So I like what you just said there. I just, because I'm sort of like still dealing with that in my own personal space. I think it's the compartmentalization of ourselves that happens, and it shows up in our life. We manifest that because that's how we are fragmented within our own selves. And so we end up manifesting that on the outside. And so what is the most recent poem that you've written, and why? Tell me the topic, the title of the poem, and what inspired that.
Trying to think, because sometimes I write a lot. It's like sometimes I'll write something. Actually, yeah, because I wrote something like yesterday, but I didn't finish it. But the last poem that I finished actually was called Lights, Camera, Action. And actually, a woman in one of the groups that I'm in, she literally asked me to write it. She was like, Rhonda, you should write a poem about what's going on with these young people fighting each other and killing each other, and know that they're being programmed to do that. And I was like, okay. And so I sat down and wrote it. And so that's the last thing that I wrote. And that was just simply because, she asked me to. And I think that, that's something important for us to talk about as well.
Okay. Now, your workshops, when you do them, how often do you do your workshops, first of all?
So I do it once a month. Okay. There was a time period where I took a break, but since 2020, I've been doing them mainly on a monthly basis.
Okay, so once a month. And what is one of the things, do you have like people that come into your workshop that may be a little bit shy about like sharing their poetry? Because I know in the group on Thursdays, one night I came in a little late, but you guys had a whole poetry thing going.
Oh yeah.
And it gave me life, okay? Because for those of y'all that don't know, in that group, it's like it's varying age. It's very like everyone. There's older, there's younger, there's middle age, right? And so I walk in there, and they're like the elders are like spitting, okay?
Yes.
Yes, I came and I was like, oh, what did I walk into? Yes. And at that night it was very interesting. When you have your workshops, do you find that what type of people come to your workshop, first of all?
Well, most people who come to the workshop, they've written before, but a lot of them haven't written in a long time. That's kind of the thing that I hear a lot of people say, like, I used to write, but I stopped, and then a lot of times I hear what you were saying about people being shy. A lot of times in the beginning, people will be like, I don't know if I'm going to share but by the end of it, everybody shares. Like I have not had one workshop yet where people didn't share. It's so funny. Because if people are always like reluctant, like I don't know if I'm going to share. I'm not really a poet, and then by the end of it, it's like a whole open mic. And people doing the second round, so it's it's good. So I enjoy that. I enjoy seeing that.
Okay, so is it like people who start off and then like the return, or is it like new people every month?
Yeah, so usually we have like a few people that have and you know my elders
Yes.
they come to the workshop a lot.
Okay.
And so we have a few people that are like returning people, and then we'll get a few new people every month as well.
So I just saw Wisdom Bars come in. He says, "Great convo, poetry meetups, and reading hit in a different kind of way." I agree. I agree. My ad speak says her workshops are amazing. I think my ad had mentioned to me that she took one of your workshops, and yes, she was talking about how great it was. So you already look. You have a public review right now. So guys, if you guys have not signed up for Rhonda, my aunt is letting y'all know that the workshop is amazing. So make sure that you guys check it out. Wisdom Bars, I agree with you. I tell people some of the most what do you call it? Hey Tiffany. I forgot. I didn't even. Hey, she says, "Hey, Hanifa, hello, Rhonda, working but listening." Hey, Tiff, I did see your comment and I completely forgot to shout you out. Sis, you make sure you do the people work, okay? Hey, thanks for passing through and showing some love. One of the things that Wisdom just said, like the group meetups, like the reading. When I was a little girl, I say, we used to meet in this shanty. Okay, that's what we call them, these little, the shanties with just the galvanized roof, right? And it was like by this big satellite thing. Well, a hurricane had knocked it down, so the people got together and like built up like this little shelter. And we were in like ninth grade at this time, and that's where I've received like most of my dope conversation around like Marcus Garvey and like different writings took place in that little hut. And it was just a bunch of us who was high schoolers, but those were some of the most awesome times of my life as it pertains to like knowledge and stuff like that. And around this time I'm like 13 years old in the islands. Okay. And we used to go over there and do other things, outside of reading, but let's just say those were some of the best gatherings. And so those small gatherings where people are able to, like, whether you're reading a book, they're able to openly express, there's something therapeutic about that as well, because I think it speaks to what you talked about, feeling isolated in our challenges and in our struggles. And when you connect with other people who are walking through their own challenges and they're able to share, there's something that does as far as your healing goes. And I think it gives you because a part of healing that I don't think we talk enough about is the importance of community
Yes.
in that healing journey. And so when you gather with other people and they're sharing their experiences, that sense of community and connectiveness kind of gives you this, it assists you tremendously in your healing journey. That community aspect, I think a lot of people are struggling with their healing and so forth because they're disconnected from community
Yeah.
support system. Go ahead. What do you think about
No,
that?
I was just gonna say that's so big, and it took me a long time to learn that because I did get the Western mental health training.
Yes.
It's very individualistic. You do your therapy, you go there as an individual, and that's not saying you can't do family therapy and couples therapy, but primarily it's individual one-on-one. But it's like we live in communities. Like a lot of times, the reason we go into therapy is because of people. And also people can be healing for us. Being in spaces with other people who we love and who we care about is healing for us. And also, talking about African people, that's like all up in our culture is healing through the collective.
Yes.
So I think that piece is so important. And I think safe spaces, because people talk about safe spaces a lot, but I think safe spaces for Black people living in America or any other country that's oppressed is or a country where they're oppressed, a safe space means so much more to us, because literally there is nowhere that we go around here that's safe. So when we do have spaces where we can not only be with our people, but we can speak freely without consequence, and we can engage in a way that is natural to us. I to me that's almost like it becomes like a microcosm of liberation in some ways, when it's done right.
Yeah,
And
when it's done right.
and that in itself is healing. That is a place where we can really receive a lot of healing just through interaction with other people. And again, that doesn't always happen. Not saying that happens every time Black people get together. There's some elements that need to be a part of that. But when it does happen, it's beautiful. And I felt that. I felt that a lot. And so I think that community piece, I would say that's probably the biggest piece that we're missing out of our healing, is doing it on a community level.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that one. And I think a big part of that is we have to learn to trust each other again. A part of that is the community piece. People are afraid to share, right? Because people have been harmed before by sharing, by people weaponizing their private information against them. So a lot of our people are very apprehensive when it comes to these group gatherings, these group things, and it's a scary thing for a lot of people, but the community aspect is missing. Like, you ever seen someone online who they just found the courage to talk about something that's really, really deep and dark, and then you read the comments and you're like, you see how many people are relating to that and saying, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you said that. I went through the same thing. I was on a thread one time, and someone was talking about their relationship with a narcissistic parent. Whew. I said the stories that was on that thread, I was just like, wow. But what I took from that is all it takes is one brave person, right? So that others can understand that they're not alone.
Yes.
And all of us, we don't have that bravery, but some of us do. And it's helpful. And that's the sense of community that I'm talking about, where someone's talking about their own healing journey, their trauma, their challenges that they overcame, gives you the courage to begin to talk about your own. Because now it's like, oh, I'm not alone out here. So maybe I should open up and speak about mine as well. This person may have just unlocked that for you, So that community piece is huge. I agree as well, Rhonda. It's a huge piece that I think is missing. But I wanted to make sure that I highlighted this. My aunt says her 12-year-old also loved your workshop. Yeah.
I loved having her there. And that was our first time, because I hadn't done a youth workshop yet.
Yeah.
So that was our first time having someone under 18 there, but it was so beautiful. She shared so beautifully. Like I wish y'all could hear what she wrote during the workshop.
Yes,
beautiful.
Yes, that's what it's all about, and that's a young mind. That's so important. I want to make sure I shout out OG Patrice, letting you know. She says greetings and salutations. Greeting and salutation to you too, Sister Patrice. Olamina says, in the beginning was the word Afrocentricity.
Yes.
No, Afrocentrically, aka the griot, culture-wise. Simon says, true sisters, real talk, hit the likes. Ayapo says, you're right. Healing for in the collective is important. That is because we are constantly subjected to collective trauma. Agree. Let me see who else. Ayapo also said, you're right. Healing for, oh no, I read that one. Okay. Ma'at says she is typically shy and was really able to open up. It was great. See, I love to hear stuff like this, y'all. I really do. Guys, I'm about to open up the lines, but I want to give Rhonda another opportunity to share a snippet of it, because y'all gonna have to go buy the book, okay? And go follow Rhonda, because sometimes she'll post some videos of her reciting her poetry. Rhonda is a powerhouse, okay? Let me just let y'all know that right now. So prepare yourself. But Rhonda, is there another poem maybe that's dear to your heart that maybe you could give us a snippet of again? And wait,
Sure.
before you do so, I want to let you guys know I'm going to go ahead and post the link. It is an open panel. Okay. If you, I mean, well, it's open mic night. If you guys want to come up and share and just have a conversation with Rhonda and I, maybe it's a poem that you wrote that got you through a tough time. Please feel free to come up, share. I'm going to drop the link right now. I think Enya have been dropping Rhonda's information as well, where you guys can find all of her information. Rhonda, what you got for us, sis?
So I wanted to share one. I wrote this, let's see, I think last year. And this is another piece that and I don't know if I shared a little bit about this earlier, but one thing that I experience with my poetry, and I hope other people experience as well, is sometimes listening and reciting my own poetry heals me, not just writing it, but actually getting it back. And not just my own poetry, but other people's poetry as well, because it becomes an affirmation. So this is one that when I wrote it, I don't really remember what I was experiencing when I wrote it, but I remember there were times where I recited it when I was going through a difficult time and it helped. So I hope it'll be the same for you all as well. So this is called Children of the Sun.
Okay.
Children of the sun, it's time to rise again. They tried to dim your light, but we are back again. Out of the darkness we are born. Here in the blackness we come into form. Here in the dark depths a star is born, spirit awry in human form. No one could stop the sun for life, but believe me, they tried. The clouds may have covered us, but again, we will rise. Our tears came down like rain, but the ancestors have heard our cries. Now we must listen to them. Those who have walked this path before and who knew the way out for sure, who sacrificed their life for freedom. Can't you see that we are all that we have ever needed? Children of the sun, don't forget from where you came. You may not be able to call your ancestors by name, but you can call the name of the sun, the sky, and the moon. And just like all the universe, they are a part of you. Your skin glistens in the sunshine. That's a form of love I cannot describe. They tried to block out the sun, but they can't do it forever. Imagine what would happen if we got together and said we won't take no more. If we actually knew what we were fighting for. What if we all agreed to finally be free and live in our true divinity? What if the children of the sun aimed to burn out all the evils of the world and make a beautiful earth for our baby boys and girls? Our mother Africa has been calling to us, but can we hear her screams? The earth heats up and speaks. We can no longer wait. We cannot allow ice people with cold hearts to seal our fate. We've endured enough pain. It's time to feel something else. Why are you afraid when all the cosmos lie within you? Why do you hate yourself when all the world envies you? Why do you feel like you are lacking when you've been given all you need to be abundant and free? Why do you call yourself poor when your mother has the richest resources in all the world? Why do you keep letting thieves walk right through your door? We've forgotten our worth, allowed abuse for far too long, endured the pain with soulful songs, but now it's time for a change. Neglecting ourselves is the greatest sin. Children of the sun, it's time to rise again.
Woo! Yes, sis.
Thank you.
Yes, sister. Why do you hate yourself when all the world envies you? Ma'am. Okay? Bars. Yes. Listen, I'll be going to Bus Boys and Poets and just hanging out. So you guys excuse me, and I'll be acting the fool up in there, okay?
I love it.
I love it. You know, I might have to start performing my spoken word again.
Yes, do it, please.
I'm gonna have to come and take your workshop to kind of get myself moving again. I love that, Rhonda. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, so we have Crested Wiz in the house. Okay, passing through. Thanks for passing through and showing some love. Yes. We have somebody in the back, Rhonda. See? You already sprinkling all the inspiration out here. Let me see. We have none other than Ola Mina.
Please.
Hey, Ola, how are you? Are you on mute? No, you're not on mute. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. How are you?
No, I'm great right now.
Thanks for coming up. Thanks for coming up. Do you come up to talk to us? You came to recite something for us. You came to ask Rhonda a question.
Hold on for a minute.
Okay.
It's a delay in the communication.
Is it?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't hear it.
we can hear you well.
Okay, I say something and then a minute later I hear what I just said.
Oh, maybe the headphones. Can you take the headphones out?
Take them out.
Yeah.
There. Okay, hold on.
Maybe the headphones. Can you take the headphones out?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Wait.
Maybe the headphones. Can you take the headphones out?
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah. Say something, Ola. Now you're on mute. We can't hear you. Now you're completely gone.
No.
Okay, if your headphones are, you want to go out and come back in? Okay, go out and come back in. I'm going to post the link again. Okay. Okay. Let me see if he can. Yeah, he's going to have to come back in. Let me see. Everyone, let me see what everyone says in response to what you said. My ad gave you a fire. India gave you a snap and some sugar love, some love. Simon says healing Ayapo. I don't know what that is Ayapo have, but it's something. I know it's something, but it's showing up as all those square boxes, Ayapo, just so you know. Huey gave you the muscles. Tiffany gave you all the heart, all the love. Let me make sure I put the stream in the thing so that Ola can see it, so he can come back up. Let me see. Okay. All right. So, somebody's in here. I think this is some porn stuff coming up in here. Let me see if I can get those off. Okay. All right. So now that one that you just oh, okay. Ayapo say we're supposed to be snapping fingers. Thanks, Ayapo. Okay, so I say Ola is back, and I want to make sure I add him. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
That's better.
I can hear you, but it's on the repeat again.
I don't know what's going on
You
there.
have the YouTube video on the same time?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. That
Thank you, Rhonda. Yeah, you might have to mute it.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better.
Boom.
Okay, so what you got for us? You come to talk to us? Do you have a question? You want to recite something? Because I know you're a poet. So
well, I came really to get fed because I seen it was a spoken word night, and I need to be fed to be inspired. So, but I can't do one. If you like, I got the one I was thinking about is encapsulating what the whole conversation of tonight is about. I feel.
Okay. Is there a story behind of it before you do it? You perform it?
The story is in the performance.
Okay, well, let's go for it.
All right. How y'all feeling?
Good.
My name is Aldermino. I'm a poet. I write poems. It's just what I do. I use words, nouns, adjectives, and verbs to communicate with you. With rhythm and rhyme, I'll develop a line, a verse, a stanza, or two, because there are many ways to coin a phrase to get my message through. To posit an opinion, to provoke deep thought in you, reveal another vision, another point of view. About things like love and family, things that happen in life, the good, the bad, the happy, the sad, the toils and the strife. It's not just writing poetry, I'm really talking to myself. And maybe these thoughts in my mind are shared by someone else. So I put pen to paper for it's the poet's way, for you to read, maybe hear what it is we have to say. For you to read between the lines and hear what ain't being said. For you to take the time to reflect on what you've read. Because poems, they can inspire, enlighten, and amuse. And many times a poem can leave one confused. And though you see with your eyes and hear with your ears, I'm talking to the soul in you. I'm a poet. I write poems. It's just what I do.
Mm. Yes, snaps. Thank you.
Thank you, Ola.
Hey, and bless you, sister, for your words, because what we need is awareness. And that's a shameless plug on Awareness Art Ensemble, AKE Reggae Band, which I'm a part of. So you got to check it out on YouTube and Instagram, etc.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ola. Ola, do you want to share in any way like how poetry have helped you in your own life before you go?
Well, yeah, it helped me communicate with my people and the world. It helped me get my voice out to what I'm thinking about the situations that go on and the situation in my life. So I can't say it's therapy. It's what I do. You know, you need to be able to let go and let life be life and live. You know, so can I do one more?
Sure. Go for it.
This one is called No More. By the hundreds the ships came with its cargo of men, women, children bound by chains. Kings and queens once mighty and proud, humbled by the whip and their head bowed. It seems as though Jah had forsaken his children to be left at the mercy of such evil men, to be bought and sold like pieces of property and worked until death in endless misery. In North America, the Caribbean, South America, we were placed. Humiliation and anger etched in our face. The sweat burned deep in our wounds while we slaved the day long under a cloud of gloom. How long, oh God, how long must we wait until our love has turned to hate? If thou be the answer of our fate, save us, oh Lord, before it's too late. After 400 years have passed, and yet the slavery still lasts, only to have changed its form, economic in nature, it was reborn. But the people can't see the reality because they've taken on the oppressor's mentality and have strayed away from the unity that have brought us thus far. And ever since we were brought to this land, this country has dreaded the day when we as a people will stand as one and raise our voices and say, we ain't taking this shit no more. No more.
Ashe.
Yeah,
I like that.
It was the climax for me.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you, Ola, for sharing with us. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you for this night, because like I said, I need to be fed.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let you down. And
Yeah,
anyone else, peace, Ola.
Peace.
All righty. Guys, that's my father-in-law, okay? I am bragging on him right now. I love him. Best father-in-law in the world, just so y'all know. What's it, Rhonda? I'm gonna try to wrap up shortly. But tell us what you have in the works right now, because I know you have a book already.
Yeah, so actually my first book, and here it is while we're here. It's a chat book. This is why our poets, we call it a chat book because it's a smaller book. So this actually has 12 poems that I wrote on my journey through racial consciousness. So most of those were written between, I want to say 2014, 2016. But I'm actually working on a larger collection of poetry. And so this is poetry that I wrote on what I call my 7-year journey through racial consciousness. So this is from like 2014 to 2021. It felt like a cycle, that I had that I had gone through. And so I'm working on, well, I already have the poems that I want in it already together. But I'm working on publishing it soon. So probably sometime next year, those will be out. And so that's one thing that I'm working on. Another thing is that I'm hoping eventually to um, record the audio version of
Oh.
some of my spoken word pieces. So that's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I just never got around to doing it for a lot of reasons. So that's another thing I'll be working on going into the next year. And in the meantime, I'll be performing and doing the workshops. We do it once a month. Our next one is on December 20th, and I'll
Okay.
actually have a guest with me. So this is our first time having a guest poet. So I'm excited about that because it's gonna be a little bit different. Yeah. And she's also gonna be talking about like the difference between poetry and spoken word. Cause I know sometimes people, get a little confused on that or don't really know. So we'll be talking about that. And usually the way that we do the workshops is, we start by, the learning piece, the workshop piece in terms of breaking out of those barriers that we've been taught about poetry and being able to get those things out the way that keep us from writing. And then the half of the workshop is a writing session where we actually write together and then we share. So we have like a little open mic at the end too. So it's a lot of fun.
Okay.
Every time I do it, I have fun and I enjoy hearing other people's poetry too, because that fills me as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is what Ola was saying, that he came to get filled. We have another guest in the back. Real quick. Hey, Simon, can you hear me? You're on mute.
Hiya.
Hey, how are you?
How you doing?
I'm good.
Sakafet. I love chiming into your platform. It's real interesting. And yeah, I'm an artist myself, so it's like when you bring up a poet, it's just like, oh my lord. It's just and the things she's been talking about, and we don't really get a platform nowadays to actually sort of do that sort of stuff. Like, that's some real poetry. Like, I'll clip that up. If you're not going to clip it up, I'll clip that up, because so Rhonda, where are you at? So where are you at, and where are you going to be displaying your poetry?
So I'm currently in Wilmington, North Carolina. And so the next event I'm going to be doing is on December 17th. That's actually going to be in Brunswick County. So I know probably nobody who's not from here knows where that is. But it's about an hour outside of here. And then I'm hoping to do some events for Kwanzaa, but I don't have anything confirmed yet. But usually every Kwanzaa I'm performing as well.
Are you on Instagram or anything?
Yes, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and blackjunction.com if it's still up. And it's under the same name, Rhonda Sekhmet Ra.
Yeah. Pull that up, man, because if we don't know, we don't know, really. Yo, Hanifa pulled you up. Like, I didn't know about you, but your poetry is something.
Thank you.
Means something. Means something. If it meant something to me, it meant something to I'd say another 100 people. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing, man. Hanifa. Shout out. I'm looking at you.
Thank you.
Peace of the
All right, Simon. Peace.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up.
Yeah.
All right. So Rhonda. Oh, we have another guest. Oh my. Okay. Ooh. 1 second, because I was just trying to find. I was gonna see if I could just recite a poem myself.
Oh, please do.
Y'all really pulling me out. Wait 1 second. Let me see if I can find it, because I had an issue the other day trying to find my own poem, and I was asked to recite it, and I was so embarrassed because I could not find it. Let me see if I can pull it up. But while I do that, I'm gonna allow Iyapo to come up because I'm gonna try to find it. Hey, Iyapo,
Hello.
can you hear me? You're mute. Iyapo, Iyapo,
Okay,
Yapa,
sorry. Yeah, sorry about that.
Iyapo, Yapa.
I was I was on the wrong tab and couldn't unmute it. Uh,
Welcome. How are you doing?
I'm well. I'm well. Thank you for the different series that you're doing. This is a really good one. I actually sent the link to my mother-in-law. She does spoken word, and I said you might
Oh,
want to get up on there. So I don't know if she's gonna tune in or if she's tuned in. But I think I came in with one of my poems. So
okay, okay. So, what's the name of your poem?
it's called "The Colors We Once Wore."
Oh, all right. Go for it. We ready.
Okay, I don't have the dramatic flair that others have, but I can read.
That's okay.
I learned how to do it last week. Okay, the colors, the colors we once wore, the colors we once wore, brighter than the moon, some brighter than the sun, radiant as a star's first breath. The colors we once wore, emerald as a peacock's tail, umber as an eagle's wing, crimson as the blood from a son's first hunt. The colors we once wore, fade gray beneath a wooden tomb, fade drab beneath unfamiliar ways, as well as our hopes. The colors we once wore, traded on dusty streets, traded on an auction block, passers-by indifferent to our shame. The colors we once wore, no longer ours to make and wear, no longer ours to see with pride, a distant thought, a distant dream. The colors we once wore, a long gone thing within our hearts, a long gone thing within our minds, as far from us as our humanity. The colors we once wore, gone as though they had never been ours, gone as though they never were, as the freedom we once had. The emerald, umber, and crimson we once wore, oh, only to reclaim them, oh, only to see them again, as well as our dignity. The colors we once wore, brighter than the moon, some brighter than the sun, radiant as a star's first breath. That's it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
And
Thank
that was
you.
really good, by the way. Thank you. That was really good. And you talking about you say you don't have the dramatics?
I don't.
What inspired that?
Um,
Ayapo?
I, you know what? I think about the middle passage often, and actually, I just finished. Well, I didn't just finish. I finished a book about it. It's called "And What of the Cargo,"
Mm-hmm.
and all I often think about not only those of our people who were enslaved on these shores and made it to the shores, but those who never made it across the passage, but even those of us who made it or our ancestors who made it, and the indignities and the the pride and the dignity that we once had, and it's not that we don't still have it, but now it's something that instead of just experiencing, we have to literally fight for it. You know, just like we said on Sister Ma'at yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I I want I want I want black love to be something that gets to the point where it's no longer revolutionary.
Hmm.
It shouldn't be revolutionary to just be who you are and what you are. And
Yeah.
so anyway, that's what prompted the poem.
Mm. Well, that was really good, and I appreciate you for sharing. You have any feedback to that, Rhonda?
I just loved it. It was very visual, and kind of just it left us with a certain emotion too. So thank you for sharing that.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. And thanks for having me on. I'm going to get off here and then I'm going to turn it back up. I got my headphones on. Angela's standing here.
Okay. Thanks, Ayapo.
All right.
All
Take
right.
care. I'll still be here listening.
Okay. All right. Rhonda, I'm literally right. Let me tell you what happened. So the other day, like not too long ago, Alkema had reached out to me and asked me to perform a specific poem. And I was like, I couldn't find it. So I just found it.
Yay!
Y'all bear with me, okay? Bear with me, okay? I want to make sure I shout out Baba Khalil. Hey, Baba Khalil. He says, Hotel,
Hey, Mama.
thanks for passing through. So this is a poem that I wrote. I was turning 36. So every time I had a birthday, I would go and perform live at, what do you call it? Bus Boys and Poets. And this was when I was 30. I had just turned 36 years old. So I'm gonna go ahead and read it. Okay. Y'all bear with me because I used to perform it, but now it's been some years. It's been some years. All right. So this one is called, I'll tell you guys what inspired it. This was more of an affirmation for myself, right? And my own womanhood, right? And what inspired it is that really starting to understand the role of the divine feminine and just how that has been really, she has been suppressed and subjugated, and just seeing her rising kind of coming through, and this was like years ago when I wrote this, and I wanted to speak to that because not just coming through globally, right, but coming through just even within my own self and being able to empower that and speak to that energy within myself. So that's kind of where this poem came from, and it's called Black Woman and the Divine Feminine. I am the 3 + 6. Again, I was turning 36, y'all. Bear with me. I am the 3 + 6. I am 9. The voice of your awakening, your chakra incline, the head of your ankh, the breath before the straight line, over 60% water turned into fine wine, a miraculous sign. The missing element of balance in your trinity, the completion of the circle, endless infinity, never a threat, but a complement to masculinity. I exist in your stratosphere right above adversity. Go ahead and call me peace. In the eye of the storm, metamorphosing into goddess form. Don't be alarmed, just be warned. I am both the rising sun and the setting dawn, the womb from which all is born. Melanated daughter of Africa's horn, call me beauty. In the eye, awakened by light, too bright for the two still closed shut tight. A downtrodden people's might, the intuitive force in this fight, the feminine. The enemy's worst nightmare, his darkest hour of the night. Call me Karma's daughter. Sent by my mother, in the spirit they call Mommy Water, watching over her children as they wade in the water. The breast that fed Patrice Lumumba, the lap that comforted Jomo Kenyatta, the voice that called home Kwame Nkrumah, the spice in your revolution, Malcolm X's transformation, Maurice Bishop's determination. For goodness sake, I am the victor and the avenger in the Haitian Revolution. My presence is imperative in building a strong nation. So go ahead and call me Omega. Ooh. Now let's go a little further. I am the androgyny in Elohim, who you call Heavenly Father. I am she that was before any ever were. I am the lock and the key to this nation's blessing, a reminder to patriarchy that she is more than just a blower, more than an object of desire, more than a mat on the floor, more than muscle-armed decor, more than slits, clits, tits, and neck-rolling wits. I am co-author and illustrator. I bring color to this shit.
Yes.
I am the black fist at the end of our arms' highest peak. Don't you ever call me weak. I am the darkness from whence cometh forth the light you seek, your rest from the struggle, your seventh day of the week. I am the XX energy, feel me vibrate. Earthquake tremors bringing love from underground while dismantling hate. My ancestors dream of freedom. At any rate, I was worth their weight. This world's attempt to remove me from my rightful place is the reason for its chaotic state. I am trying to tell you who I am. I am more than just the other half of man. I am she you have not heard enough about, but you're gonna learn today. I am Ma'at, Sekhmet, Yamaya, Oshun, Aset. Call me what you may, and I am not asking for worship, your bow posture, or to become she to whom you pray. Just that you watch the divine feminine slay and make way, make way, make way.
Woo! I can't even snap. I gotta clap for that one. Yes!
I haven't performed that in so long.
Yes, I need you to get back on the mic. I need you to do this more regularly. Yes. That was it. I love it.
That felt good.
Yes.
But yes, that poem, whenever I need a little boost, I read that poem just to remind myself of who I am, that as women, as women, we are here to bring the balance. Do not disregard us. Do not disrespect us. Do not dehumanize us. Do not demean us. Because without us, there is no you. And so let's honor that, right? And let's hold that in high esteem. And like I said in the poem, it's not for you to worship at all. I'm not even asking for that. Right? I'm asking you to make way for the divine feminine to bring back the balance. And that's pretty much it. So that's a poem that Alkema tends to call on me to perform. It's a little difficult doing it sitting and everything because I'm a little more animated with it. It's a strong poem. So I really go hard. So yeah, that's my piece for tonight. Thanks for inspiring me, Rhonda.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yes.
Yes. So let me get back to the things and then we're gonna wrap up. And if you have a snippet of anything else that you want to share, please let me know. Because I feel like they need to run and get your book and connect with you online so they can hear you perform. What's his name? Simon said at last. Baba Khalil said Rhonda Sekhmet snaps, loud snaps. Wisdom says never a threat, just a compliment to masculinity. Yes. Absolutely, yes. We ain't here to take over. We here for balance. We are here for balance. Simon says the energy is outstanding. Ding. Oh wow. Okay. India is sending some love. Let me see what else we have. Baba Khalil is saying snap. Tiffany's all snaps. You're killing it. Let me see. Ayapo said that was strong. Simon said, do that again. Y'all showing a whole lot of love. I appreciate y'all. Hey, Kwame. Thanks for passing through and showing. I know, and showing some love, guys. Yeah, I feel a little energized. I was a little nervous, but thank you, Rhonda, for that. I needed that. So Rhonda, if you don't want to, that's fine. But if you want to share a snippet of something else, that's fine as well. Otherwise, I want us to wrap up by you just reiterating how important us writing things out is, how beneficial, even if we don't share it. Because even from talking to you, I'm like, it's not even about performing it. Like, get it out, like by writing it, I don't know if you have heard of people like writing things and then burning paper. Have you ever heard of? Okay,
I've done that.
Right. A part of that is to kind of like release.
Yes.
So I want you to reiterate kind of like the importance of writing our feelings out as utilizing, not just the spoken word but the written word in our healing journey. Go ahead.
Well, I think for us as a people, with all we're going through, I think sometimes we even minimize the level of trauma and stress that we're going through. We need to do all that we can to heal. And what I love about poetry and other forms of writing is all you need is a pen and paper. Because I know sometimes with certain types of healing, sometimes there is a financial barrier. But with poetry, you could just grab a pen and paper and write. And actually something I wanted to offer to everybody, if you want a list of poetry prompts, if you go to that link and join my email list, I'll email you a list of poetry prompts. It should come automatically, but if it doesn't, email me. But yeah, so if you need like inspiration on like what to write about or how to start, I created like just this list of ideas for writing poems for release and affirmation. So definitely start there, because I know sometimes people say when they start writing they draw a blank, but I just say write for the sake of getting it out. You know, it's not necessarily, you don't have to share it. It doesn't have to be quote unquote good poetry. It's just a way for us to release and express ourselves. And I feel like, especially in this society, we're so suppressed in so many ways that whatever tool you can use to get that out of you and to give it a different place and a different space, and to reframe this situation in a way that empowers you and strengthens you, and makes you feel like the person you naturally are, you know, because naturally we are powerful and we are amazing, and we just have to get back to that. So let your soul speak, let your soul be unleashed, speak those words. And I know not everybody might want to do poetry, so I don't want to limit it to that. There's other forms of writing that you can do. There's other art forms. I know a lot of times people gravitate to music a little bit more. There, of course, poetry and music are related, but whatever you need to do to get that out, I just think that's so important for us to start somewhere, because we need to heal and we need to do it immediately. So whatever you can do to do that. And I'm happy to help in that process as well.
Appreciate you, Rhonda. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing. I actually have one more poem, guys.
Yes.
No, wait, this is gonna be the first time I'm publicly sharing this.
Ooh.
And this one is not even more like a healing personal thing. This one is specifically to Black men. Okay, so if you're a Black man, in the comments, in the chat, shout out to you. Okay, this one is for all the Black men listening and who's gonna catch this on the replay. Okay, I wrote this. I don't know. I think this was inspired by, there was a lot of chatter around the incompetence of Black men, right? They're like within the last 2 years or so. Because I think, I wrote this in 2020. Actually, May 17, 2020 at 5:56 p.m. I wrote this. And I think it was in response to that, because I was like, I know good Black men, right? And so this one is called Black Men, We Got Your Black Back. I'm sorry. You see me laughing, I'm nervous. Sorry.
It's okay.
So, okay, it says, Black men, you are beautiful. A beauty only measured by whatever measurements we measure essence. Black men, you are strong. A strength that transcends the physique that this world observes only with an eye to objectify and commodify. Black men, you are great. Black men, you are worth the wait. Black men, you are light. Black men, you fit us just right. You are worth the fight. Black men, you are a sight to behold. Black men, you are walking oracles of the ancients with still much yet to be told. Be bold. Go ahead and unfold. Black men, hold your head high. These thighs welcome your cry, because Black men, you feel. Black men, you heal. Black men, you smile. Black men, you do struggle with style. And though Black men, you hurt, don't sell yourself short. Know your worth. Black men, you become seed when pushed down in the dirt. Tombless, wombless, and yet you give birth. Black men, you can't do it without us. Black men, we can't do it without you. Black men, you give life to dead, boring things in this world. Black men, come through. Black men, we call the greatness that is you to make yourself known. Black men, your glory goes beyond a crown and a throne. Incomparable, God, divine to the bone. Black men, you are our balance, complementary to our yin, a partner in life's sacred dance. Black men, remember your former glory. You are more than the main character. You are the story, a force to be reckoned with in history. Black men, it is you they want to erase, your energy they wish to hack. Black men, we got your black back. Black men, rise and take your place. It is you they wish to erase, your energy they wish to hack. Black men, we got you. Black men, we got your black back. That was it.
Yes. Yes. And I love how you did the poem on the divine feminine and then a poem for black men. That balance. I love it.
Yes, yes. And it's funny. I was just going through my thing, and I was like, let me say this one because that's my first time actually reading it out loud. So I appreciate you holding space with me for this. I didn't think I would do any of it. I was like, this is going to be all about Rhonda, but you inspired me. So I can imagine your workshops. People probably come in there like, I'm just going to listen. And then by the time the workshop is done, they're like, wait, hold up. I got something to say.
I love it though.
Rhonda, thank you so much. Again, let the people know. I know earlier Enya put your information. So let the people know where they can find you, where they can find your work. Do you have a YouTube channel? Let us know. Okay.
Yes, I forgot to mention that. Yes. So I'm on you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and also I have a YouTube channel, and all of that will be under this name, Rhonda Sekhmet Ra. And also my website is rhondaspokenword.com, but this link right here is the link to everything. So I mean, you
all
can
right. I'm gonna put that, yeah, because you did send it to me. So let me make sure I pull that up. Yes, so that would take them to all your work, right? Everything, like your platforms and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So whichever one you're on. And I would encourage people to join the email list too, because again, I'll be sending out that list of poetry prompts. And then that way, that's also the way that I keep people updated on, what I'm doing in terms of performances. And I also send poetry to people on my mailing list every week as well.
Okay, so guys, I just posted Rhonda's link. Like she said, anywhere, anything, if you want to find her anywhere on any platform, just go to that website and you'll get all her information listed there. Rhonda, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I will be tapping into one of your workshops because I might have to get back to writing and performing again. It's been some years, and I appreciate you kind of pulling that out. I didn't know that this would happen today. But I appreciate it. And if you want to say any closing words before we wrap up, please do so. And then we're gonna say bye to the chat.
I just want to say thank you for having me. I just feel very comfortable here, and I want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in and watched. Peace to all of you. Love you.
All right, Rhonda. Peace to you. You have a good weekend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And thanks again for sharing your energy with us.
Thank you.
All right, guys. That was really fun. And I love Rhonda. I love Rhonda's spirit. I love what she does. I love the work she does in the community. And I just love everything about her. I love her energy. So I hope that you guys enjoyed her as much as I did. Next the next person we have coming in for the healing for the rest of the month is we're gonna have someone that comes in to talk about ritual healing, like healing using ancient practices. And then of course we're gonna have someone come in and talk about healing using talk therapy. I'm trying to get some other people to come in and talk about healing using like affirmations and so forth. So this whole month, guys, okay, make sure you tap into my community tab as well. I'll be sharing stuff on there every day of this month that has to do with healing. This whole month again is dedicated to healing. If you have a guest that you would like me to come and interview around the topic of healing, please make sure you let me know. But until next time, I am going to say peace and blessings to you guys. And thank you for coming here and hanging out with me. You could have been anywhere else, but you guys hung out with me today. And I appreciate you. And until next time, which will be on Monday, I am going to say peace. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. All righty. Let's leave out with some music and groove on out of here. All right. Doo, doo, doo.